You're listening to Menopause Natural Solutions, episode 50, Libido. Welcome to Menopause Natural Solutions, your podcast for all things perimenopause and menopause related. Stay tuned as naturopath Jennifer Harrington explains how to use natural therapies to transform your health and happiness. Hello ladies, what a juicy conversation we are going to have today, and it's all about libido. It's a common sign that a lot of women chat to me about, and it's something that I have a couple of hints and tips for you, so let's see what we can do about getting your sex life back on track. But before we do, I wanted to have a quick word from our sponsors, who are Nutrafol. Women don't often talk about thinning hair, but nearly half of all women experience it by as early as age 40. If you're one of them, you know it can feel scary and stressful, which only adds to the problem. 30 million women experience hair loss, but it's not openly talked about. So going through it yourself can feel lonely and frustrating. It's time to change the conversation and join the thousands of women standing up for their strands. 80% of women saw hair growth and thickness in a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study by a board-certified dermatologist. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and using the promo code MNS to get 20% off, and this is their very best offer available anywhere, plus free shipping on every order. Get 20% off at Nutrafol.com, promo code MNS, their best offer anywhere, 20% off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code MNS, for hair as strong as you are. Now on to the juicy stuff. All right, guys, with our topic today, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. I do not believe that intimacy is an obligation. I believe intimacy is an extension of love. So we're talking about wonderful, beautiful, romantic moments with your partner that you would like to experience and not something that you feel obligated to do. So first of all, when I'm talking to a couple about libido issues and lack of intimacy, I start by recommending a book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Now I'm going to pop this in the show notes because it's important, if you haven't heard of this book or haven't read it, that you do read it. Gary talks about sending and receiving love differently. He explains that we all have 5 different ways in which we can send and we can receive love. He talks about words of affirmation, like saying I love you, physical touch, and this isn't necessarily intimacy. It can be holding hands, stroking your face, brushing your hair. It can be receiving gifts. It can be quality time together, or it can be acts of service, like you've had a hard day, let me cook you dinner, or I've run a bath for you. Little jobs like this that you do for each other. And you may receive love differently to how your partner receives love. So I always want to make sure that we understand how this may differ so that we are speaking each other's love language so that we are filled with love first and foremost. Because I know on days when I'm feeling disconnected from my partner, I do not want any intimacy, so I assume you guys are all the same. So let's get on the same page. We will speak the correct love language to our partner, and hopefully they will understand and they will speak our love language back to us so that we both have full buckets. Now, I'm really aware this can be a very interesting conversation with your partner, but it's one I think that is essential if you're going to have a long and happy relationship. So grab the book, have a read, and see if you can figure out what your love language is, and see if you can figure out what your partner's love language is so that you can make each other happier. All right, there's also a couple of things we need to understand about sex and intimacy as we age. And that is that there are sometimes better times of the day. So as we age, our hormones are highest in the morning. So a lot of couples find that on mornings when they have more time, so maybe it's a Saturday or a Sunday morning, when you can have a slow morning, that can be a better time for intimacy because of the naturally higher hormone levels. We also find that as we age, we need more foreplay. And I love Dr. Emily Morse. She's got a couple of fantastic sayings. If you've heard of her before, she's the host of the podcast Sex with Emily. And she says that foreplay begins at the end of the last orgasm. So it's not something that you say, okay, honey, brace yourself, here we go. That's not foreplay. We're talking about the way you speak to each other, the way you look at each other before you even get anywhere near taking your clothes off. Have you even thought about how you can extend your foreplay? Do you like massages? Do you like reading erotic literature to each other? Go back to what your relationship was like when you first started dating. Maybe you used to write your poetry. Maybe you used to help you brush your hair. Quite often it's thinking about what things we really enjoyed initially and opening up a conversation. It can be, I really miss that you don't brush my hair anymore. Or I loved it when we used to read poetry together. I found this fabulous book. Or even better, remember that book we read 20 years ago? We never quite finished it. Let's start from the beginning again and finish it up. It can be looking at erotic art. Think about your senses. So can it be food? Can it be taste? And I know that historically we think about things like oysters and chocolates and strawberries, but how lovely to actually feed your lover some strawberries in anticipation or as part of the act of foreplay. As we age, we know that we're going to need more help with lubrication. So we can use lubricants in the act, but we can also look at ways in which we can tone up or improve the health of our mucous membranes so things aren't so dry and sore or itchy. Because if sex is uncomfortable or if painful, it is going to be the last thing in the world that you want to do. And with my patients, I actually prescribed quite a lot of them individual pessaries. So I use a compounding pharmacist, which I'll send off a script, and they'll make up the pessaries. And this is not something that you want to use at the day that you're having sex, but it's something that you want to use to help restore your mucous membranes so that you're not so dry, you're not so tender or so itchy or sore. So that I think is a better long-term strategy, but you are potentially still going to need help in that moment. And with lubricants, you're really looking for pH balanced lubricants that don't have the nasty chemicals in it. I recommend Yes, because that's one that I've had a lot of experience with, and their website is yes. So hopefully you remember that one. When we're looking at lubrication, we can also have a look at oils. So things like taking a fish oil or a sea buckthorn oil orally, as well as our oil-containing foods, things like olives and avocados and eggs and seafoods. just to help make sure we have as many oils as possible. We also want to be well hydrated, so lots of water. Certain key nutrients like zinc and vitamin A and vitamin E are really good for the health of our mucous membranes. And there is what I think is a gold standard herb that I quite often use when it comes to libido, and that is tribulus. So some women are scared of tribulus because it has got links with testosterone levels. But really, our testosterone levels can start to drop during the menopausal transition. And by boosting them up or to assist with the testosterone production, we can find that our libido does increase. And most women do notice the difference with this. So guys, it's been a very interesting conversation today. It's one that I hope you have enjoyed. And I have to tell you, I've been loving all the feedback. So please remember that when you like or share or leave a review for the podcast, it helps more women like yourself to find it and to also seek help. So big thank you to Susie from Australia. She gave me 5 stars and said, I was researching natural ways to assist me on my menopause journey when I came across this podcast. I listened to 4 podcasts in a row and I am hooked. Such helpful, clear, informative and useful information and options to make changes in lifestyle and diet, etc. to feel better through this transitional stage in life. Thanks so much, Jennifer. I look forward to listening and learning so much more from you. With gratitude, Sue. Thanks, Sue. And Kat in Canada. Excellent topics. Thank you. Love your podcast. My absolute new favorite. Woo! Thank you. So guys, don't forget to share with your friends as well. What you're going through, more than likely your friends are going through, and hopefully by sharing you open up conversations. Anyway, enough for me for this week. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to Menopause Natural Solution. This podcast contains general information about menopause. It is provided as a guide and is not intended to replace medical advice. Opinions of guests of their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests.